I'm here today with Andrea from YourCause from Blackbaud, and would love to get started on some really interesting questions about the social impact space and the product space and what's going on with technology. But before we jump in, if you would just take a minute to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Courtney. I'm Andrea Avtjoglou. I'm the head of product at YourCause from Blackbaud. I've been with Blackbaud almost 3 years in March. I am privileged to lead what we lovingly call the operating system for impact. So how we can enable companies to connect with their employees and really drive engagement at a cultural and an employer level, as well as engagement for the benefit of their communities through giving, volunteering, and grant making.
Wonderful. I love operating system for impact. What a great way to summarize the work that you guys do. So diving in, we're seeing a lot in AI and blockchain and other emerging technologies get thrown out at every challenge. It's the answer to everything. It seems. What's one technology trend that you think is actually overhyped for the social good work right now, and one that's quite revolutionary, maybe that's not getting enough attention?
So I have a deep data background. So I'll answer this from kind of a lens of data-informed product management. So let's start with overhyped. I would say in its current state, blockchain and NFT style tokenization for philanthropy is overhyped. It's fascinating, but there are too many real-world frictions such as governance, KYC, AML, volatility, the wallet experience, and actually kind of unclear beneficiary value that often outweigh those benefits in corporate social impact and employee relief contexts. We actually don't need immutable ledgers to fix problems that are mostly about trust, speed, and compliance. But I will hedge my bet a little bit and say in the future, there are changes that could come about in this technology that would change my point of view. There may yet be a solution in the future that will unlock that technology for philanthropy. And then on the quiet revolutionary side, the boring plumbing, modern payment rails, consented data interoperability, real-time disbursements like we have with expedited giving features at YourCause, instant cards, ACH paired with privacy-preserving data sharing that can move aid from weeks to hours. We literally can disperse gifts to eligible nonprofits within 48 hours while letting beneficiaries control what's shared and with whom. That combination reduces administrative drag, it cuts the fraud risk, and most importantly, it gets the help to people when they actually need it immediately.
That's so critical in the social good space. I love the way that you describe that and see from our experience, the customer experience at the end of the day is what we're trying to improve, not figure out how to use every buzzword technology available at any given time. And it is so exciting to see what's out there, and it is transformative. And I keep getting these glimmers of just, what that one day future will look like. But I love to hear you say, and it certainly aligns to how we're thinking about our applicant experience, is how can we make it better using the most effective and sometimes the simplest path forward by layering on technology that can break, that can cause complexity, that creates challenges for the sake of technology is, and in my experience, never the right choice. While at the same time, with the product lens, we have to continue to learn and understand and gain insights about what's out there on the cutting edge of technology.
And I actually think AI will be able to lead us into this kind of utopia of where the simplest solution is often the best solution, right? We had to introduce complexity because we didn't have enough intelligence in our technology to do kind of that thinking that AI can do for us going forward. So simple will equal best coming up very soon. That's my prediction from social impact product management.
I love that. Well, and AI being the path to simple, we know from experience that often the most elegant solution is the simplest and provides the most value. But I don't know, what we sometimes find is it has to get really complicated before it can get simple. If AI can help skip over some of those steps of having to get, what is the saying where, if you're trying to clean up a space, it usually gets a lot more messy before it gets clean. If we can get through that messy middle faster with the use of AI, certainly I'm all ears and interested to learn. But it's good to hear that your experience has been focused on your customer and how do you use technology, but use it in a way that gets the job done for what they need, while keeping an eye on what's coming.
For sure.
Excellent. All right, let's pretend it's 2030. So 5 years from now, how do you imagine our two technologies maybe working together at that time?
So I already want to say, first call out, our partnership is excellent already. But let's cast forward another, oh my gosh, this is only 4 years away to 2030. I envision our platforms feeling like a beneficial flow that has been developed with intentionality and keeps empathy and dignity at the center of its purpose. Just imagine an HR life event, disaster declaration, or verified hardship that triggers a pre-check. The employee sees a one-click multilingual application auto-filled from consented data. An AI guide explains eligibility in plain language. Funds disperse instantly to the person's preferred method, card, wallet, or bank, with embedded safeguards. And then case follow-ups are coordinated without the employee having to retell their story. And on the back end, we share only aggregated privacy-safe insights like time to first dollar, days to stability. And so employers can strengthen those programs without peeking into personal situations. Think about the speed, the humanity, and the measurable effectiveness we have just achieved.
Oh, I love that. The dignity that comes with, and back to, our customer or applicant experience focus, that sounds fantastic. And it weaves in a bit of our first question around how new technologies can enable that to be a reality. In some ways, we're not that far from that vision, but there are certainly key pieces along the way that need to be shored up. And that integration and partnership is the thing that will help to get us there.
Totally agree. I can't be more excited for it.
Wonderful. Yes, this is a conversation we will definitely need to continue. As far as our next question, what's a future scenario that keeps you up at night when you think about how social good platforms might evolve? And what's one that actually makes you excited to get out of bed in the morning?
All right, so let's do the keeps me up at first. It's the dystopian kind of horror movie type. Opaque AI makes those eligibility calls, data leaks erode trust, and speed replaces empathy. I don't want to live in a world like that. If we don't hardwire consent, transparency, and appeal pathways, we will scale help, but we will also be scaling harm at the same time. And we have to put those safeguards around data trust and transparency that underlies every single AI tool out there, and the ability for humans to still control these processes and still bring empathy and dignity to the table. Now, what gets me up every morning? Dignity first relief at global scale. Imagine someone experiences a crisis on a Wednesday. By Thursday morning, they've received funds, guidance to local resources, and a short plan to stability. No paperwork, no stigma. And then those program owners, the grant makers, all of the people that are involved in all of the circle of social impact see real outcome metrics and can target prevention, and communities become more resilient between disasters.
Oh,
that's my
beautiful. That's something worth getting up for in the morning, I would say. Wonderful. But you're right. It's almost the stumbling blocks that are what keep you up at night. The challenges to getting there. It's easy to skip steps or miss some of those really important foundational elements like data, as you mentioned, and making sure that we have humans in the loop at every step of the way. Certainly, that's our philosophy and where we are now with our grant making and decision making, and looking for opportunities to gain efficiency, yet never replacing that element of a human making the decision.
You have to engage that because of the empathy and the true nature of having a human review circumstances. You can have AI do everything up until that very last point, but you have to have that human step in there.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And then 5 years from now, what's the question about social good technology that you hope everybody is asking that nobody's really asking today?
I think nobody's really asking it today because there's almost an assumption that it will happen given the personalization and the individualization of all technology experiences that we are starting to unlock now. But my question is, how can social good software connect us all on a more personal and individual level? How can it help us identify where we can plug into social impact work like giving and volunteering and philanthropy that makes the most sense for us as individuals and the impact we're helping to have in our local communities, causes, and broader global society? And ultimately, how can corporations and organizations like E4E Relief, how can we be at the nexus of that new and improved experience for all employees? How can we bring the tools to bear to make sure that the individual feels seen, heard, and accommodated while broadening the technology to be as efficient as possible in all of those, in enabling all of those processes so employees can find the volunteer event they want to engage with, they can give to the charities they want to give to, and that money gets down there as quickly as possible. And any corporate philanthropic efforts around grant making, around employee relief are as seamless as possible.
That's fantastic. I love that, and I love that you put a lean towards both the company component as well as impact. Your background says we fuel impact. At the end of the day, that's the bottom line, and it is impact across the communities, as you mentioned, the individuals, but also the companies and the culture surrounding companies that offer the type of services and opportunities for people to apply for relief, for people to volunteer, for people to
Right.
do.
And then you think about it, as they get more engaged, it's a flywheel effect, right? Then they get more engaged in their communities. We see benefits on the community side. They get more engaged in their companies, culture benefits, retention benefits, and it becomes kind of this positive flywheel effect that you and I, at the center of the social good technology world, can help basically accelerate and push forward from a very, very unique position.
I love that. And one of the things I really enjoy working with is the opportunity in this role to work with what I like to call conscious companies, because they're companies that understand that flywheel concept. And I really think you can see a difference. There's a difference in the culture of companies that understand that flywheel effect, that put investments into things that affect the well-being of their workforce differently than, and kind of understand that marriage between social good and human capital, that that well-being space. So it's really an exciting opportunity, I think, in this role to get to be working closely with companies that feel that way and that care about their workforce and their employees in that way.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, thank you so much for your time today and this enlightening, impactful conversation. I will look forward to continuing the conversation, and for now, sign off.
Thank you, Courtney. It was a pleasure being here today.
Thanks so much.